Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's morning musings is being your expanded self. I'm doing a series of daily morning musings, and I'm using posts from my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. Now, I wrote these posts a while ago, and the world has changed so much since then that if I encounter anything that seems out of date as I'm reading, I will stop and interrupt myself and give you the most recent information. If necessary, at the end, I will summarize the topic based on what's going on in the world today. And I have some special offers, so stay tuned to the very end to see what they are. Being your expanded self. It's all about perspective. Whenever I read someone who is down in the dirt struggling with something, you can be sure they're operating from their body personality's point of view. Now, mud wrestling could be fun, but most people who call me for readings are not enjoying themselves. They feel like life is happening to them. Things feel overwhelming. It's painful, miserable, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel. They've forgotten that they're really an infinite being who chose to come here in order to experience all the fun and diversity in the physical realm. All they're experiencing is pain and discomfort, density and effort, and they're taking it seriously. And I'm going to interrupt myself here because I'm not dissing people who come to me for readings. I'm thinking as I'm reading this is that I have gone through experiences like this, especially in the last 2 to 5 years. And I know this stuff, right? I teach this stuff. I am not operating as my expanded self when I am fighting with reality. So we're all human and we're all infinite and we're all going through this. Back to the blog. As an infinite being, they're actually having a blast. If you imagine that you come from an experience of infinite joy and expansiveness, then you'd find it entertaining to try out all the lower emotions and limitations. When you're experiencing life as your body personality, though, it feels powerless and out of control. When you operate from your expanded self, you have choices. It feels effortless and enjoyable. Even the tough times are fun. How do you regain your infinite perspective? There are many ways. The first is to remind yourself that you are an infinite being. It's also helpful to talk to yourself as your expanded self. Like a horse with a rider, it's very comforting for your body to know that you've got the reins. Meditation or quiet reflection assists with this, as does journaling. You can write to your body as your expanded self and vice versa, by which I mean, you could write as your body to your higher self, this really sucks, I really hate this, and then you can write back as your expanded self. It's going to get better really soon. I'm sorry you're going through this. I really appreciate you. You've been a really great body. You are a really great body, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. That sort of thing. I think I needed to hear that. It's a very simple shift, one that becomes easier the more you do it. When you're back in the saddle as your expanded self, you're reconnected with your inner wisdom. You intuitively know what your next steps are. You can look at all the excitement and drama going on in the news and not get caught up in it. You can say to yourself, I'm an infinite being. Any problems, concerns, questions you have, you can ask yourself, what would an infinite being do? You'll find that as your experience of yourself expands, your troubles will shrink. I invite you to get started now. Remind yourself as often as you think of it that you're infinite in a physical body and watch how your life changes and let me know what happens. You can leave a comment below. I'd love to read your comments and to just kind of summarize with what's going on in the world today. I have noticed, and other people who are on similar spiritual paths have noticed, that it just seems like the insanity is accelerating and the noise of the lower level reality is very, very loud. And it's really challenging to maintain your perspective. I wouldn't say infinite being anymore or expanded self. They're okay terms. I like to think of myself as consciousness, that there is greater consciousness, that everything is ultimately greater consciousness. And I'm greater consciousness. You could say my body is an expression of greater consciousness. So one of the things that I also do when I'm getting caught up in all this is bring consciousness into the circumstance, bring consciousness into myself. And then what I notice is my body relaxes, my stomach opens, I start to breathe easier. I feel a sense of well-being, regardless of how crazy the news is or how dire the circumstances seem. Sometimes I have a greater perspective of what's going on, but sometimes also I just have this sense that all is very, very well and it is all unfolding just as it is. So again, if you're having any experiences like this, or if you have any insights to share, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I love to read your comments. And if you like these videos, please click the thumbs up icon and like them. And also please subscribe. When you do that, you let YouTube know to share this far and wide, and that way it reaches people who really need this information. If you'd like a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click below on the skybox technique. It'll give you a bigger perspective of what's going on in your world today. I also self-study manifesting money and miracles. It's something that you can do for yourself in your own timing. It's a great introduction to energy work and a way of learning how to change your inner state, which changes your outer state. And in so doing, manifestations start happening beyond your wildest expectations. So you can click below on manifesting money and miracles. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. I do individual sessions where I take a look at the essence of who you are and what's going on in your life today. I can also answer any questions you may have. I can take a look at your future. I can take a look at relationships. I can take a look at money. I can talk to dead people, and it's all recorded just for you. Now, if you want to learn how to do it for yourself, the self-study is a great beginner's training and also prepares you for my coaching special where I work with you one-on-one and give you specially selected consciousness techniques so that you can transform your life. So go to my website, joan-newcomb.com, and I'll see you tomorrow in another Morning Musings.